You are still watching News on the Hour from News Frontier Television. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Walter Onogen, has asked Nigerians to petition any judicial officer involved in corruption or any form of unprofessional conduct in any part of the country to National Judicial Council, NJC. The CJN, who by virtue of its position heads the NJC, which has disciplinary power of over judges, also warned politicians to desist from using the mass media to smear the image of the nation's judiciary and that of hardworking and honest judicial officers. Justice Onogen stressed that Nigerians should learn to take advantage of the institutions that have been established to undo allegations of corruption and unprofessional conduct by judicial officers, including cases of judicial fraud, which is said the senator cited as a reason for the loss of our mandates in the law courts. Following threats by the Boko Haram to attack Abuja, security agencies in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, have declared their readiness to combat all forms of threats to lives and properties by intensifying intelligence efforts, surveillance, and raiding block spots within and around the city. The decision was taken at an emergency meeting of the FCT Security Committee to review the current security situations in the nation's capital. The meeting, which was chaired by the FCT Minister Malam Muhammad Musa Bello, was attended by the FCT Permanent Secretary Dr. Babatokpe Ajakaye, FCT Police Commissioner, FCT Director of DSS, Nigeria Army, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Navy, Customs, Immigration, NSDC, Prisons, FRC, NDLEA, among others. The security chiefs noted with concern the recent threats by the Boko Haram sect to attack the FCT, but said the threat was not being taken lightly, as everything will be done to prevent attack on any part of the territory. The Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi has paid 100 million naira as counterpart fund for the Fadama 3 addition financing project of the federal government. The statement said that 110 million naira paid by Umahi was for 2015, 2016, and 2017. According to the statement, the information was contained in the midterm report presented by the Ebonyi State Fadama office to the federal government World Bank midterm review team, who visited Ebonyi last weekend. The reported quoted Umahi as stating that Ebonyi is ready and willing to play a leading role in rice and cassava value chain in the country. According to the report, during the 2016 rain-fed farming season, 1,815 hectares of rice farm were cultivated using recommended production technology as provided by the advisory service consultants, and this resulted into total output of 9,075 metric tons by farmers. The Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai has ordered security operatives to probe the circumstances that led to the recovery of 5 locally made AK-47 and ammunition in a crashed car in the state. 5 locally made AK-47 and ammunition were recovered from an Audi Salon car at the scene of an auto accident which claimed 3 lives with 4 people injured, according to the Federal Road Safety Corps Head of Operations Kaduna Sector Command, Mr. Salisu Galadosi, would confirm the incident, said it occurred around Mazuga village, 10 kilometers away from the Kacha-Kafancha road. However, not taking chances considering the volatile nature of the state, the newly elevated Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to El-Rufai, Samuel Aruwan, said the government has ordered a thorough investigation into the matter. The rainy season is here again, and it is important that we are aware of the basic measures to put in place to avoid the hazard caused by flooding. Let's have this report on flooding by Olajumaki Babalola.
There are 2 weather seasons in Nigeria, the rainy and dry seasons. With the rain, there is usually so much relief and joy. The harshness of the dry season is reduced. For drought-prominent areas, the rainwater is collected for domestic use, and farmers are expectant of a bountiful harvest. However, this season also portends a dreadful threat to some other people. for one reason: flood. Flooding is the overflowing of water onto land that is normally dry. Floods can happen during heavy rains, when ocean waves come on shore, or when dams or banks break. Flooding may happen with only a few inches of water, or it may cover a house to the rooftop. Floods are the most common and widespread of all weather-related natural disasters. They account for a high record of death, displacement, and destruction of properties. Flooding is becoming an increasingly severe and more frequent problem in Nigeria. Nigeria in July 2012 experienced its worst flooding in 40 years. According to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, 30 of Nigeria's 36 states were affected by the flood, which affected an estimated total of 7 million people. The estimated damages and losses caused by the flood were worth 2.6 trillion naira. Former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan had released about 17.6 billion naira to various states and agencies for damage response, food relief, and rehabilitation. Unfortunately, the impact is more felt by the urban people in such a way that recovery from flood is unlikely to be achieved without external aid. Urban people are more vulnerable to the impact of flood because they set up homes in the floodplains, and there is usually no provision for proper disposal of waste.
Governments also do their own part, but by putting all this waste bin, so that people, if there is where they can put their waste, there is no need of people throwing. When rain is falling, they will be throwing waste inside the rain, inside the gutter. At the end of the day, it's go and block the flow of the water.
As the rains have begun to fall, it is important for people to be aware of the basic, simple measures they need to put in place to avert the hazards caused by flooding. These include, but are not limited to, improving and clearing drainages, harvesting rainwater, building dikes and levees, which are flood control structures built to fight river flooding and water surges. More importantly, people should be adequately enlightened to understand the environmental impacts of improper disposal of waste, which contributes to the blockage of drainages.
Governments also do their own part, but by putting all this waste bin, so that people, if there is where they can put their waste, there is no need of people throwing. When rain is falling, they will be throwing waste inside the rain, inside the gutter. At the end of the day, it's go and block the flow of the water.
Flooding can be properly averted when people do the right thing. Olajumoke Babalola reporting for New Frontiers Television.
News on the hour continues after this timeout. Please stay with us. Up next is the business news with Precious Amayo. Please stay with us.
Federal government, the 36 states of the Federation, and the 774 local government areas have so far shared 1.4 trillion naira from the Federation account, being revenue generated in the first quarter of this year. The breakdown is contained in the monthly Federation Account Allocation Committee report. The key agencies that remit funds into the Federation account are the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the Nigerian Customs Service. The total revenue shared in January by the three tiers of government was 430.16 billion naira, with the federal government taking 168 billion naira, states 114.28 billion naira, and local government 85.4 billion naira. The Federation grossed in 514 billion naira in February, and federal government's share was 200.6 billion naira, states 128.4 billion naira, and local government 96.52 billion naira. The allocations were made using this revenue sharing formula. The federal government 52.68%, states 26.72%, and local government 20.60%. The report showed that before the distribution of the revenue, the state's respective liabilities were deducted. Egypt has prepared the wireless frequencies needed for telecommunications companies in the country to deliver 4G mobile broadband networks, a key step in the long-delayed introduction of high-speed telecom services. Egypt sold 4 4G licenses in 2016 as part of a long-awaited plan to reform the telecom sector and raise dollars for stretched government finances. The country's 3 mobile operators, Vodafone Egypt, Orange, and Etisalat, acquired licenses. Orange Egypt agreed to a provision that half the license fee be paid in dollars. Egypt's state-owned landline monopoly Telecom Egypt said in July it would offer 4G services within a year of obtaining frequencies. Ford Chief Executive Mark Fields is set to depart following a major reshuffle at the car maker. His expected departure, first reported by the New York Times, comes as Ford faces weak sales, falling profits, and a near minus 40% decline in its share price since Mr. Fields took up his role in 2014. He may be replaced by James Hackett of Ford's autonomous driving unit. The car maker said it planned to cut around 10% of its global workforce. Ford employs more than 200,000 people globally at the end of 2016, including about 101,000 in North America and 23,000 in Asia. Sales in April were down 7% in the US and 11% lower in Europe compared with a year earlier. The firm has also been hit by costs related to safety recalls. Precious Amayo for New Frontiers Television.
Good to know you are still there with us. Coming up now is the foreign news. Stay with us.
Stalled Israeli-Palestinian peace process with visits to Jerusalem and the West Bank. Over 2 days, Trump is set to meet separately with both Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and visit holy sites. Netanyahu and his wife Sarah, as well as Israeli President Reuven Rivlin and members of the Israeli cabinet, were at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport to greet Trump and First Lady Melania in a red carpet ceremony after a direct flight from Urad. On his maiden foreign tour since taking office in January, Trump is already showing signs of fatigue from a packed schedule. He is on a 9-day trip through the Middle East and Europe that ends on Saturday after visits to the Vatican, Brussels, and Sicily. And in Germany today, the German police has evacuated the headquarters of the Social Democratic Party in Berlin after a suspicious object was found in the mailroom. All employees had to leave the building, including senior Social Democratic Party members who were meeting in the Willy Brandt's house for a weekly board meeting to discuss their party manifesto for the September 24 election. A Greek militant group, Conspiracy of Fire Cells, claimed responsibility for sending the package. The center-left Social Democratic Party, is currently the junior partner in Merkel's coalition government. Also in Thailand, a bomb blast at the hospital in the Thai capital of Bangkok wounded 24 people today, the third anniversary of the 2014 military coup. There has been no claim of responsibility for the blast at the Pramongkutklao Hospital, which is popular with soldiers and their families and also retired military officers. Government spokesman Sansen Kaukamned said 24 people had been wounded and most of those wounded were hit by flying glass. Adiola Adegoke for New Frontiers Television.
Up next is the sport news.
The second stanza of the Nigerian Professional Football League has resumed after recession. The recess has afforded both teams the chances of reassessing with necessary amendments. The Shooting Stars needed more than 3 points to put an end to the continued dominance of FC Fayumba in their last 5 meetings in Nnewi and Ibadan. At the first half of the game, they had 2 goals to nothing against Shooting Stars and had their remaining 1 goal at the second half, ending the game 3-0 in favor of Ifeanyi Uba, who dominated the game, and Shooting Stars performed poorly on the field. The guests were very happy with the game and with the scoreline.
So today, my staff, the match, he is number one. Of course, he was superlative. I mean, you can see beautiful saves and a lot of one-on-one catches. You know, he deserves it. He did play very well, but he's the number one. You know, this is football. Sometimes I might not be your day. So they are good players, very young players, but you know, experience counts as well. So our plan is to keep playing better by the day.
It's not a new thing for us. It's a game. It's a game of football. They came to our home to the first score us one, understand? So we came here today. We want to punish them for what they did. We're happy, and we are ready for the second standard. That is our happiness. Yeah.
So do you see Fayumba taking the lead?
I'm sure. You can watch by yourself. What do you see?
So it's a great match.
You said it right?
Yeah, I think by the special grace of God, the second round has just started. It's a gradual process. I think we've taken this maximum 3 points. We have to go back to work very well so that at the end of the season we'll see where we are.
And the Shooting Stars were done with their performance and spoke on their way forward.
It's a sorry case. It's a match. I couldn't believe what happened today. We were battered. Let me use the word battered. But all along we tried to get along with the game, even more especially in the second half. We tried to calm the game and make it easy for us. But the goals has already given them the edge over us. So it was just, it became more difficult. Well, this is the same team that has been playing right from the first round. So I would just say it's one of the games. I would say it's a bad day for us. I would say it's a mistake of the officials or the coaches. No, it's just a game that before we could, they scored us under 2 minutes. So before we could wake up to the game, we had 2 goals down. So trying to give ourselves the morale to come back was a bit difficult. Yeah, it's just for us to keep pushing, keep trying, because right now we're in the relegation zone, and if you are not careful, that will be the end. But we know with God all things are possible, and with hard work we can still come out of the relegation zone. We are all remorseful, we are all down, not happy with the result. But the long run, I know everything is going to change.
If there's anything I have to say, I'm short of words, but I have to, accept the defeat in good faith, and also appeal to all our supporters, all our fans, that we have disappointed. We don't need to give any excuse. We did not come to the party, and Ifeanyi Uba was better and they won the game. So we can only appeal to the fans not to just take one game. has, turning their back on us. Whatever, anything, corrections to be done, we go back to the drawing board. We have trainings before going to the next game, and all what we have observed in today's game that has, to us, made us to lose the game, we make correction. And it has happened. And all I'm saying on behalf of the coaching crew, the players, the management is that our supporters, our lovers should take us in good faith and have that belief that we'll turn things around and give them joy for the value they've given in terms of their money spent.
Adebola Adeleke reporting.
Concludes the news on the hour for this time. Thanks for being there. My name is Temitope Oladipo.